As promised, this is the at everyone that I posted at 11:52 in the morning when I saw that SPY had a potential knife, this kind of knife. Well, anyways, uh, I was checking the 5 minute chart, and I don't know you guys have been paying attention to the chat, but I have been talking about exhausted candles. They're also called evening candles, evening stars, whatever you guys want to call it. But here's one right here. And for confirmation, we had a nice break of the 9 moving average. And this is the 5 minute. So once we broke here, there goes Mr. G. There it is. Boom. Right? So that's when I saw the potential downside. And then for confirmation, what I used, I went to pre-market, right? I went to the pre-market high, which was 473, a big wick. And then on market open, another big wick at 473. And then again, another rejection of that 473. So once you start seeing this type of moves, watch for potential downside. Big wicks, right? 1, 2, 3. Once we started doing a small downtrend underneath the 9 moving average, which for me, this indicator is a bullish indicator, you see that we started forming a support level, right? Some support level, and this is also on pre-market high. I mean, on pre-market levels with this beautiful volume profile, this right here. So if you have your volume profile indicator open, just make sure that if you see it as big as this or over 10 million, right, you're gonna see a lot of people, a lot of buyers in this area holding it as value. So on this one, you could see that SPY was holding it perfectly well. And that's when we saw the bounce, right? And that's when I alerted also. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? I just want to make sure you guys are seeing what I'm seeing. Not this one. Where is it? Where is it? Oh, okay, here. I think this is a good entry for long, healthy pullback, right? And then then we go all the way here and then here, right? When you call the bottom for SPY. So pretty much I was looking at the volume profile, right? And again, I'm still at the 5 minute. So this is where we're looking, and then we had the push, right? I mean, the only in here, if you wanted to play puts, right, you had to make sure you had a clean rejection of this volume profile and of this level, retest, and then you could hit the target, this target of 470.35, which we later hit, right? So this one again, and this is where I noticed the downside. We tested that 473 again, but this time around we had what I called again the exhausted candle. I think that's the evening star, if that's what I call it, whatever they call it. And again, I saw this beautiful candle for confirmation that it broke the 9 moving average. And then after that, that's when I alerted, you know what, potential big downside. And that's where we got the downside. Boom. I was expecting a bounce here around this 471 area again because of this, but it cracked. It cracked that area, and there it went, right? And then it retested that area of value again. I don't know if you see this candle right here. Retested this area of value. The support that we had became the new resistance, right? And that's when you saw more downside. And we were also trading underneath the VWAP and this 9 SMA. So we went all the way down and pushed all the way to 469. And if we go back for more confirmation, right, you can see we bounced off these levels, this area right here. Or if you go and want clear, a more clean chart, you go to the 30-minute. So on the 30-minute, you can see that it bounced off perfectly well at the 50 SMA. At the 50 moving average in the 30-minute chart. It bounced off perfectly well there. And then we recovered this area, which is my 44 EMA indicator. And then now we're trading again at this area of value. Once again, this areas of value. These two beautiful volume profile candles. We have a lot of volume here, 36 million, and then we have 30 million, right? So for tomorrow, now that I'm here, right? For tomorrow, if we continue to reject this level, the 471.55, you zoom out, there's no volume profile here. We did break out. This is the breakout level, the 467.13 that we had back in when was this? Back in 2022, the all-time high in this area. Well, not all-time high, but this previous high. So now we have this volume profile indicating that if we crack this area right here, especially this wick that formed, we could potentially fall all the way down to the breakout level, right, which was 467.13, which we retested when we broke it out, when we broke this this candle, right? Broke the 467.13, we retested the breakout, and then we gapped up pretty much. But for tomorrow, right, once again, this is my levels for tomorrow. And I'll reevaluate what happens tomorrow. But at the moment, this is what I'm looking at. This is a pretty nice wick, which got bought up, right? And as long as we're holding above 471.55, which is the VWAP, costs are still valid, and costs are still valid above the 470.04, right? So as long as we're holding those two levels, we should be good. However, if we start cracking this 471.55, there's a chance we get and we retest that 468 we tested today, or even if we get more selling pressure, right, we can test and crack the break of that 467.13 and then fall all the way down to my 44 EMA indicator, 462.65. But this is if we crack these two important levels that I have on my 4 hour, the 471.55 and the 470.04. So if all of those break, we could potentially see a beautiful downside to this area first, just to cover this small gap on the volume to 465, which could be a $3 downtrend if we crack that 468 that we tested today. This 468, where is it? Oh, 469.25. But yeah, those are my levels for tomorrow, and as you can see, this is where we consolidated for the longest time, where we were just chopping back and forth, and then we finally decided to move up. And I want you guys to pay attention to that alert that we were talking about earlier. Just pay attention to this. Let me just zoom out. And sorry if I'm talking very boring, but I mean, I'm tired. All right, pay attention to this chart. Check this out. This area right here. Let me see if I can make a drawing. Man, I'm so used to toss. Thinkorswim is better than Weeble though. All right, either way, pay attention to this area. This is the area that I alerted, right? That I alerted earlier this morning. But pay attention to it. Just, I'll give you some couple of minutes just to memorize this exhausted candle and what happened afterwards. All right. Now that you have it on your mind, let me take it off, remove it. And I want you guys to tell me if we are potentially seeing the same thing here on the 4-hour chart. I don't know, we can see it on the 1-hour chart too. All right, the previous one was a 30-minute, right? And then we have a 1-hour chart doing something similar. Our 4-hour chart still has some volume there with buyers, but also the daily is kind of forming the same thing. So don't be surprised if we see a move like what happened today over the next couple of days, right? What's going on here? I hate you, Weeble. All right, here we go. So again, memorize this and keep it on your back burner, and just remember that we might form the same thing in this area right here. Draw another triangle, rectangle, whatever you call it, right here. So we could start forming something similar in this area. Something similar to the 5-minute chart. Right there, right? So if we do start forming something similar right here, but in the 1-hour chart, right? If we start forming something similar, expect some downside, and hopefully we do not crack as bad as we did today. Because then the bears are gonna jump in, right? And if they jump in, there's a gap that might be tested for the upcoming months. So if I guess if something goes wrong right with the market and then we start seeing some bearishness, expect the downfall from 470 all the way probably towards this volume right here at 460, 462, 461, 68. I guess that's where the 9 MA stands. But yeah, that is all for tonight. Just to review on this alert, the potential knife, right? Check your 5-minute chart. Identify the top resistance of pre-market, the supply and demand area. So identify top resistance, which is 473, and then identify the close, the open at 468. Right here, this volume also validates it exactly where we had that test right here. Pink, right? So just identify those levels, identify how it opened, how it closed, and then the top resistance 473. Identify also certain patterns, the demand that we had here, the support, the volume profile, which made this push it up all the way again to this 473 top resistance. And then just identify the candle, this candle, how it forms at that area. It formed what I called an exhausted candle or an evening star. And then for confirmation, just look for the next previous candle, the next candle. In this case, it's this one, and then it broke under the 9 SMA. It could break another MA, I guess, depends what you have, but I use a 9 moving average. And then just keep checking your support levels, your volume profile. For me, this is very important. We broke the volume profile, we broke this area of value, we cracked, we retested it, retested this area, and then we rejected, and we kept on underneath the 9 moving average. We went underneath the 200 moving average and the 200 exponential moving average, and we tested that 469.25, which was close to the open, the close from yesterday and the open from today, and also validates itself with this beautiful volume profile candle, which we saw a bounce again to the same area of value that we were previously on, this area right here. So again, we're trying to recover this area, and tomorrow just keep in mind those levels that I mentioned, the 470.04 and the 471.55. Calls above 471.55, put scalps underneath that for a target of 470.04. Crack that level, potentially see a 467.13, which was the previous high for SPY back in 2022, if not mistaken. Once again, let me go check. Yeah, back here in December of 2022. And those are the levels you need to watch. And then if we break that level, that breakout we had from December of 2022, we could potentially see 165 to cover this gap on the volume profile, and ultimately a 462.65, and hopefully we hold the 460.63 area. If not, we just tank all the way back to 448. 448, because why? And this is very important, because the volume here sucks. Boom, we could potentially be back at these levels easily. Look at this gap here. There's nothing holding it here. But yeah, see you guys tomorrow.